Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Forex Beginner Podcast. Today, we are going to be talking to a verified seven-figure earner in the day trading space. Now, today's guest is really special because his humble beginnings started with less than 30 bucks. I'm talking about 20 bucks starting his investment career to now be over $1 million in trading profits. Today we're in for a blessing. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming Mike Huddy to the podcast. Mike, what's going on, brother?
What's going on, Calvin? Thank you so much for having us. Really happy to be here. And I actually want to talk just a little bit about that before we even get started. Just that $20 investment that I started with.
Yes, let's get into it, brother.
What's so important for everyone to kind of know out there is that the most important thing in life is to take massive action, is to get involved, is to get in game and put some capital at risk. Nothing crazy, but get involved. That $20 really sparked a multi-million-dollar journey and a dream and an inspiration for myself. And again, I wouldn't have developed the way that I developed had I not just had that $20 in there to start with. I know it's a little bit of money, but it got me watching. Got me looking for opportunity. And that's how I found where I went.
I love it already. And I think that's the key, Huddy. Like a lot of times we think, oh man, Huddy, $1 million in profit. I can't do that. I don't have much to start with. But literally you saw something that you were interested in, and we're going to get into that. But you saw something you were interested in and you're like, yo, I got 20 bucks. You know what I mean? I can start there. And I think that's so powerful. So thank you for sharing that. Now, let's kind of dig into like, where were you when you first got introduced to the day trading space? Now, we know you are a stock day trader, but where were you in life when you first got introduced to day trading?
Absolutely. So I remember like it was yesterday, and unfortunately it's been 8 years. Not unfortunately, but time's gone by. I was 20 years old. I was not legally able to drink alcohol. So young, I was in college. I was a sophomore in college. And I remember the moment like it was yesterday. I was in my business ethics class. I was in college. I was an entrepreneurship major. And they were teaching you about some pretty obvious things where if you just had good morals, you didn't really need to pay attention because it's very easy to have good business ethics. Don't sexually harass someone was probably a question on the test, obviously, right? So I was Googling in class. I was just kind of distracting myself with my laptop open. And I started to Google, how do I diversify 20 bucks? And very quickly, my $20 got diversified into 10 different penny stocks.
Wow.
And that's kind of how it started. I was just playing with what I had. And I knew that my $20, I couldn't buy Apple. I couldn't buy all these blue chip companies. And even if I did, they don't move very much. So I wasn't going to make much money. So I was like, okay, where else can I go? And I literally searched something so ridiculous, what billionaires invested in penny stocks? What penny stocks are billionaires invested in? They're the secret, or not the secret, but none of them are invested in penny stocks. I don't even think they're allowed to be invested in penny stocks. But that's how it started. I was 20 years old. My friend had invited me just days prior to Robinhood, which was at the time in its beta. It was a no commission, free to trade app. So again, I was like, why not? I've always been gravitated to the stock market. I think it's very lucrative. I've always felt that way. And so, just looking for opportunity. And that's where I was. I was 20 years old, sophomore in college.
Hungry and ambitious. That's what I'm hearing. Just young, hungry, and just ready. I love that. A lot of people, they want to get started. They want to reach that financial freedom, that status of being able to this is the thing that I do in life and I get paid well for it and I get to travel, I get to live my life. But as you kind of went through the journey of getting started, right? You put your 20 bucks in there, you diversified that across some penny stocks. Did you see any quick gains that really showed you okay, there's some real potential here?
So this is how I found it. At the end of the day of my first day in business ethics class, I made 3 cents on my $20. It was 3 cents. And I said, damn, that's not enough. So I kind of put a pause on that and I started to make an Excel sheet, right? Every day I had this Excel sheet. I still have it somewhere. It's got 150 stocks on it. So that little Google exercise that I did, I just started Googling stocks and putting them on an Excel sheet and tracking the open, high, low, and close. And I did this for 6 months. I really didn't trade much. I just kind of had my 20 bucks. I was very patient and I said, is there opportunity here? Can I find something just through tracking it myself? And every day I'd be in the undercap in college, updating the sheet, all 150 stocks. And I started to notice some anomalies. I started to notice that of the 150, all of a sudden there'd randomly be one up at like 300% in a day. And I said, whoa, if I could make 300% on my money in a day, I can pay my rent in a day. And that was like, whoa, that could be really big money. So then I started to attach the big percent gainers that I was seeing to Twitter. And I started to find mentors because I got to college late. I actually had a past life before college and in between high school and college where I was taught to seek mentors. So I went out and I sought after a mentor, someone that had already invented the wheel. I didn't want to recreate it. I just wanted to know if it was possible to predict any of this stuff. And I didn't need the 300%, but if I could make 10% of the move in a day, I'd be happy. That's way better than my 3 cents. That's $6 on my $20 account.
Yeah.
And that's how it happened. It was 6 months of diligently tracking to find that, yes, some stocks do move violently in a day.
You know, as we've been doing this series, I'm calling this the Verified Millionaire Trader series with you, Kyle, Dom. And the consistent thing that I'm hearing from you guys is that the data, really focusing in on, hey, what's working? What opportunities do I do best? And literally just forgetting the rest and just kind of sticking with that. Would you say that that's been the key to you starting as the $20 guy to now being the multi-million-dollar guy?
There's a famous quote from a great book called Reminiscence of a Stock Operator, and I might completely butcher the quote, but it goes something like this. First, you have to learn where you lose before you can begin to win. You have to know what's causing you to lose money. And the only way to know what you lose on is to quite literally lose on it. Lose on it enough times where you're like, okay, this specific occurrence is not for me. I cannot do this. I lose way too much money. I can't control my risk. I can't control my emotions when I'm in this type of setup. I need to get this out of my trading. And I need to focus on the things that don't cause me this pain, that don't cause me these losses. And the only way that you're going to know about that is to diligently track what you're doing. You've got to separate yourself from the roulette table. You got to separate yourself from the gambling and try to make as much structure around your trading as possible. And then you can actually look into it and read about what is doing you good and what is doing you bad.
One question that I get asked all the time, and I'm going to answer it right now so you don't have to go in the comment section and ask it again. Calvin, how are you trading in the market? How are you participating in the foreign exchange market? Well, there's 3 ways that I'm using. One way has been traditionally using Forex prop firms. Now, I got funded with my first prop firm account back in 2021. That was actually my 2nd year of trading. I was still learning, just developed my new scalping strategy, and I was able to get funded with the prop firm $100,000 in simulated prop firm capital. Simulated meaning it's a demo account. However, you get paid on any profits that you make using those simulated/demo accounts. Now, if that's something that you're interested in, check out Blue Guardian. Blue Guardian has this amazing tool called the Guardian Protector. And what the Guardian Protector does is it allows you to set limits in the market, even if you don't set a stop loss. Even before you even take a trade, you can set limits in the market. Log onto your account, go in your back office, set these limits. They can be dollar amount limits or they can be percentage limits, so that once you hit those limits in your trades, it's going to automatically take you out and it gives you the opportunity to live to trade another day. Also, when it comes to trading my personal account, I utilize a offshore broker and a US regulated broker. Now, the bulk of my money is in the US regulated broker, but I do put a couple $100s in a offshore broker, a non-US regulated broker, and the broker that I use is 24K Markets. What I like about 24K Markets so far is the quick withdrawals. I was able to take a withdrawal last week and the deposit hit my account in like 45 minutes. Also, being able to utilize the platform Trade Locker with 24K Markets allows me to trade from my cell phone as well as my computer or tablet, and literally I can drag and drop my take profit, drag and drop my stop loss. Very, very easy to use and to manage risk as well. And before we get back to the interview, please remember trading involves extreme risk. So number 1, make sure you're never investing money that you need to live your life, money that you're depending on to survive. Number 2, make sure you have a trading plan. Make sure you have tested your strategy, you have the data. Number 3, make sure you're practicing discipline, patience, and number 4, let the money come to you. Don't run behind trades. Let the setups come to you. Let's get back to the interview. So have you always had this like like this go-getters, like super laser focused mindset?
I think I've always had it, and that doesn't mean I've always been the best at everything I try to do. I mean, in high school, I was a 2.6 GPA. I was
Mhm.
not a good high school student. I was maybe a class clown. I enjoyed sports. I enjoyed friends. I enjoyed hanging out. Um, but I still had it. I think it was somewhere deep down, and just high school wasn't for me.
Mm.
Scholastics weren't for me at that moment in my life. But then I went out. I went out into the real world. I started working. I started to get mentored. I was living in Canada for a bit. I was living in Ohio. I was doing door-to-door sales, and very quickly, like, when back against the wall and fire underneath me, and having to get something done, I excel. I do better than most people. I'm above average in most things that I do, but it's got to be passionate. It's got to have a good why. It's got to have a good purpose. So I found in life, when you've put purpose and passion behind what you do, it's really hard to fail. And I think that's what comes out in my speech that you're picking up on.
Yeah, it definitely does, man. It like bleeds out. Okay, so at what point are you building the $20 account? But at what point do you add money, or did you add money? Like, how does this start to build up to, like, now you're making, let's just say, I don't know, like $50, $100. Like, when do we get to that like period?
I added to the account. So
Okay.
the account was a $20 account placeholder for the first 6 months, and I didn't lose the $20, but I didn't make much money, obviously. After 6 months of trying, I took what I had made from day trade, from door-to-door sales, my past career before college, and applied that to my account, and I traded with $1,000 account.
Nice.
Went up $200, went down 300. It was kind of one step forward, 1.5 step back. Then I found a mentor. I invested in my education. I put another probably like 6 months into the journey, maybe 8. And then I actually took a real investment out and I put 25K into an account. And that was the last time I ever had it. I wanted to get over the PDT rule. I wanted to have unlimited trades. I thought I was ready. I had been studying for a year. And it's truly from that account that I have grown to my fullest extent.
That's amazing. So this is powerful, guys. Like, imagine, right? Working, preparing, and now being able to take a $25,000 investment and to make over $1 million in profit by taking the time, going through the process, starting with what you have. Like, literally, the $20 investment was the preparation, and then reinvesting, adding another 1,000, continuing to get experience, then investing in some mentorship, education, and then with some more time saying, okay, I'm ready. I've identified, I've looked at my data. I know what I'm doing wrong. I know what I need to avoid. That is so powerful. Like, how did you build up the 25K?
So I just want to touch on what you just said again. It really was a dream too. It was a dream that I wanted to aspire to, and that was really powerful. I still have the piece of paper that I wrote, my business plan, day one, as I put the first $1,000 in, which was, I think I really found something here. I have it written down. It's in my photos. I've shown it at boot camps before, where it's like, this is the path to success. This is going to make me $1 million, and I'm going to get after it. And that piece of paper, that whole moment, that dream was really significant to me. As far as growing the 25K account, that was, I remember that I was never risking $25,000. The $25,000 was merely, and this is what I explained to a lot of people that have asked me, how do I get into trading? I say, well, you need to have a bankroll, you need to have some kind of money, but you don't need to bet the money that you have. So, when I had 25K in the account, it was never like thousands of dollars were at risk. It was really just a placeholder in the checking account for me to continue to take repetition, to take free throws, to take shots, right? To get more practice and practice and practice. And that account grew very slowly. It was like, 1, 2, 3K at a time a month, and then down 1, 2, 3K. Like, it really never grew, but it also never lost. And that was a really important thing in my trading career. It's preservation of capital. It's surviving long enough so for you to actually understand what you're doing and what you're here to do. And that took me 2.5 years, by the way. That was not a slow process. And for 2.5 years, I grinded, I fought, I preserved, and I learned about my losses, I learned about my wins, and I finally, after 2.5 years, said, okay, I'm taking out all of this stuff, and I'm only focusing on this obvious data that is making me money. And this is my last 6 months of college. I put all my effort into only trading that. And if there was nothing else, I would not open up the screens because I knew I would get distracted.
Wow.
And the last 6 months, I focused on that one strategy only. I got a little aggressive. I think it was like kind of make it or break it for me. And I made 6 figures in that last 6 months of college from, December to May. And the week that I graduated, I made 20K that week. And I said, okay, I can do this.
Oh, yeah.
And that was a defining moment.
I love it. Would you say, right, with you being in college at the time, did that just add just more professionalism to your trading? Because you're like, listen, my plan and my goal is while everybody else is graduating and going off to go do internships and get that job, I'm going to be in my purpose, living my dream as a trader.
Yeah, I was never a guy for a 9 to 5. Again, like I had a whole career before day trading, and I kind of went to college with the idea that I wanted to get the piece of paper that said I was smart, and not really a huge intention of what I wanted to do. So when I found day trading, the first thing I did was I changed my major from entrepreneurship, which maybe wasn't necessary, to finance and economics. Kind of taking it seriously. Maybe the day trading thing didn't work out. At least I had a degree and I could go into the finance world. I was preparing for plan B. I hated the idea of interning and making $8 an hour. I had already made 6 figures at the age of 18 and 19. Like I had already had really good paychecks. I'm not going back to that, to nothing, right? So I dreamed big, I aspired big, and every day I worked at it, and I saw what everyone else was doing, and I said, I don't want to be like everyone else. I don't want to work a 9 to 5. I don't want to be in a desk. I like to travel, and I like opportunity. I like big opportunity, right? So I don't know. It's more of like a mindset that I had. And maybe with a chip on the shoulder. Not really sure what a chip on the shoulder means, but I was working hard.
Yeah.
I was waking up. I was in San Francisco, so I was waking up at 5:30 a.m. I used to say, I'm up, made money, and done with school, and my enemies are still asleep.
There you go.
I'd wake up at 5:30 a.m. I would trade from 6:30 to 8 a.m. At 8 a.m., I would close out everything. Okay, I found strategies to work that first hour and a half. At 8:30 was my first finance class. By noon, both my classes for the day were done, and it was either off to the gym or off to lacrosse practice. I was also playing a sport in college. And then by 3 o'clock, my day was done. And I had accomplished, and then I had fraternity stuff. So I had accomplished so much. And everyone was still like, I looked at my peers and they were ditching class. They were sitting on the couch. They were out, drinking all night, being hungover the next day. And I, at one point, had to say, okay, I do that stuff, but at one point, I had to be professional. I said, this is exactly what I want to do. This is where I see real opportunity, and this is a life worth working towards. Whereas, like, a lot of those friends of mine, here we are, I'm 29. Here we are. I graduated in 2018, so X amount of years later, 6 years later, and a lot of them haven't progressed very well. Some of them have, but majority of them are still working for that same software sales company, are still making those same presentations. And I'm like, and even if they wanted to quit their job, they can't because they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
They're stuck. So I'm really glad I avoided that. I don't know if that was the question, but
no, that's great. Yeah. I mean, listen, it don't matter if it was a question or not. I love the answer.
Awesome.
So, all right. So like just looking at where you are now and just like the success you've had, obviously there is so much more that you have in store, right? What is your routine looking like now? Like a day in the life of Huddy, what is the routine? What time do you wake up? What time are you like doing your pre-market analysis? Like walk us through your routine right now.
And I live a pretty nomadic life. So I don't pay rent anywhere. I live in LA. I have a house in Scottsdale. I got a girlfriend in Miami. I got friends in New York.
You got a girl in Miami?
Yeah, I got a girl in Miami.
Yo, next time you come to Miami, let me know, bro. Let me know.
Okay, I'll do that.
All right, go ahead.
That sounds like a good time.
Yes.
I promise you that. So a lot of my time is spent traveling. I do travel a lot. I really enjoy meeting other people, experiencing. I find that is like the joie de vivre of life. I don't even know what that joie de vivre means, but my girlfriend is French, so sometimes she says that. So I really like to travel. But the day-to-day, let's see. Again, it changes. So during the pandemic, this is what I was doing every day. And it's kind of still similar. So like, let's take the West Coast lifestyle. 5 a.m.-ish, I'd wake up, and the first thing I would do is I would juice. I would take this is kind of who I am. I think it speaks a lot to me. I would take like 15 different vegetables and fruits. And I would start juicing it in the morning. I'd make a liter, okay, a huge batch of juice. Then I would chug the whole liter most of the time. Sometimes I would save a little bit for like the next day or whatever. But, and all I was thinking, again, kind of like where I'm up before all my enemies, I've made my monies before all my enemies. And then when they're waking up, I'm done. I wanted to get all my nutrients in right away. I wanted to trigger my brain into some kind of task to get it ready for the day. And just on the West Coast, it's too early to go to the gym. Like I can't go to the gym at 5 a.m. That's waking up at 4:30. That's going to bed at 8, and then that's being at market open for 6:30. There's no preparation. It's too squished. So I juiced, and not with steroids. I just organic juice. And then trading comes around 6:30 to 8:30. I'm predominantly a morning trader. I've had strategies for the afternoon, but most part, I like to kind of shift focus and start working on other things, on other ways to progress my life. So 6 to 8:30 was trading. 8:30 to about noon is gym and lunch. Noon to about 2, 3, 4 o'clock, depending on the day, depending on the agenda. It's shift focus, kind of step away from trading, start looking at other business opportunities, other investments, call friends, call family, make sure that you're connecting and networking as much as you can. And then that was pretty much it. And then 3 or 4 o'clock would roll around. I'd make a watch list. I would prepare for the next day. Market would be, relatively closed. And, then it's, 6 p.m. I'm eating dinner. I'm getting ready for bed by like 8:30, prioritizing sleep, making sure that I do get my full nights of sleep because, again, on the West Coast, it's tough.
Yeah.
And that's important.
Yeah, really good. So given now that you travel a lot, is there any, like, how do you deal with the distraction of like trading on the go? Like, I know Kyle mentioned that he was trading while he was on a cruise. Like, is that not an issue for you at all because you know what you're looking for so well and you've done it so many times? Like, is moving around and being in different environments when you're in the market not an issue for you at this point?
I think the biggest issue I have is like sometimes I won't be as aggressive. Whereas like Kyle will have a 30K day and I'll have a 5K day. And I'll be kind of like, maybe if I was at my desk and my computer, I might have been able to just be a little bit more aggressive because when I'm traveling, I don't like to have big red days because then it sucks me into the game. And I'm like, okay, now I got to fix the month or do something emotional. So I actually trade lighter. It is exactly what you said. I've been doing this for 8, maybe 9 years now. I'm 29. I started when I was 20. So I do have a very good eye, like just a visual look for exactly what I want to see. And like when it's not there, I know it's not there. When it is there, I know it's there. Very strict criteria for the things that I get involved in. And it doesn't just come out of nowhere. The plays that I do, I usually have time to prepare. I usually have time to plan. So that really helps. I can forward look and I can see what's coming my way. And if I need to schedule time to be on the market, I will. My year 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, okay, all of those years, I've spent at least 2 months in Europe every summer. I found that August was always a red month for me. I have had profitable months in August, but most of them are not profitable. And they're not huge red months, but they're not green. So I sat there one day and I said, why am I working in August? I can be on a boat in Italy, spend the money that I lose in the market, and be happier and not work. So I've learned. I know exactly what I need to do. I know exactly my aggression level. I know exactly how to schedule around these things. I know every single time zone like the back of my hand. I was just in Thailand for all of January, and I traded from market opens at 9:30 p.m. and I traded from 9:30 p.m. to 12 a.m. I made 50 grand that month.
Wow.
It was the best month of the year so far.
Wow.
It was sick, right? And I thought Thailand would be I thought Thailand would be a harder time zone because it's literally 12 hours from New York, so it's 9:30 to 4:30 a.m. No, I made it work.
Wow.
So it's cool.
Man, you live in the dream, bro.
I live a good life. I keep telling people this, and I probably shouldn't say it because it's probably kind of a little morbid. But I said if I died tomorrow, I'd be happy. I died happy, man. I've done a lot of things in life. I've had a lot of success. I've met a lot of great people. I've had a lot of great experiences. But it's because I put myself out there.
Yeah.
As much as I can. I do not shy away. If someone says jump, I jump. Right? And that's a really important thing to do in life, I think. And it's not for everyone. It's a character trait. It's not for everyone, but it's allowed me to experience a lot of really freaking cool things, man. These eyes have seen some shit.
I love it. So you mentioned that, that quote that you just said, right? Like if I were to leave this earth, I would be, satisfied with what I did, basically, right? And with that, now you give a lot back to newer traders that are starting over at Clover. You're really giving back. You're really taking the time to help guide and mentor traders. What is the big emphasis for you that you try to get traders to understand when you're working with them?
Well, first of all, the reason I work with traders is because I remember what it was like to be a beginner. I remember being in the chat rooms. I remember asking questions and no one responding. Not my mentor, not the people that were like the junior mentors. Like my questions would just go on. And again, there was like maybe 400 people in the chat. So I get it, maybe 300 at times, but I get not being answered. But I always told myself, if I ever become successful and I do understand how this whole thing works, then I would answer people's questions. Because I remember what it felt like to be lost, to be just have basic misunderstandings that just with a little bit of tutelage to the left or the right, I would get it. But I couldn't get my questions answered. So I'm a big proponent on asking questions, on asking good questions. I do believe in stupid questions. I don't believe that they should be asked, but I do believe in being coachable, asking good questions, having some kind of structure to being a good student. And I think that's a very important part of your learning curve. Again, what was the question?
No, you answered it.
Okay, great.
Yeah, what's your big point? You know what I mean? That you try to get traders to understand, and that's it. That's perfectly good.
I think I like teaching. I think the reason I knew I was a good teacher was because I started to find my success. I started to make my six figures. And what I started to do is I started to make video lessons, recapping the trades that I was taking. And they weren't for you guys. At this point, I had only made 100K. Like I wasn't like all of a sudden claiming to be like a good trader, but I wanted game footage, just like you see in football or any sport. I wanted footage of what had happened. I wanted to review the footage. I wanted to re-experience it and go back and watch it one day if I ever like fell off the wagon. I wanted to make sure I knew how to get back on the wagon. And I started to upload those. They were public. I didn't make them private. They were on Profitly, which is where I was. And they started to get a lot of reviews. I mean, the first one I uploaded had 300 views and like 20 comments.
Wow.
The second one had like 1,000 views and 50 comments. And that never stopped. And I said, and this was a small community. This wasn't YouTube. This was just like some guy's site. So, and the comments were great. The feedback was great. They were learning. That it was digestible. They were understanding. And I said, okay, that's what kind of took me to this career path of education as well, because I can do it. And it's not something that I pursued to do. It's something that kind of stumbled upon me, and my intentions were always pure.
That's awesome, man. What's next for Mike Huddy? Like, what are some, do you set like targets like in the market? Like one day I want to be, an 8-figure trader or anything like that? Or is it more so like, I want to be able to.
Quite the opposite.
Okay, yeah. Well, share it to me, please. Give it to me.
I don't want to be an 8-figure trader. I don't want to make the most money. I've made 100K in a day, dude. It's awesome. You know what also sucks though about that is the loss side, where if you continually try to bat at 100K, which is, multi 6-figure trading, not even 8-figure trading, I don't like the losses. I don't think it's necessary. I'm not someone that needs to make the most amount of money. I just want my expenses paid. I want to travel. I want to live. I want to smile, and I don't want this huge dark cloud above me. And I think everyone's just trying to make the most amount of money as quick as they can. And at one point I was like, that is a dead end goal. Making money, once you have enough to live a financially free life, making money becomes a dead end goal. And you need to find other passions. You need to find other things to fill the void in your life. And that is a roadblock that everyone that makes $1 million will eventually kind of come to realize. So my goal is not to get bigger. I want to trade good setups and I want to make good money when it's there. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll have 5-6-figure days in my career, but I don't think I really want to get to a point where I'm trading a multi-million-dollar account. That's not my intention. All I need is 4 to 5K a day, right, on average, and I am good. I am really good. And in order to make 4 or 5K a day, let's talk about 1 to 3 risk reward. I only have to bet 1,500. What kind of account size do I need to lose 1,500? Let's say it's 2% of my account, right? That's a $100,000 account rounded. I don't need to be that big, and I don't need to sacrifice all that I've made. I mean, if I'm trading my whole net worth, what am I risking? You've heard nightmare stories, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Your dog has too. Your dog heard
Yeah.
some nightmare stories too.
He's agreeing, I think. Uh, I have other aspirations. I want to move to New York when I'm 33, 34. By move to New York, I don't mean I want to live in a shoebox. I want to spend $250,000 a year in expenses, including rent, including food, including drinks, including travel. I mean, that New York's an expensive freaking city. And I don't want to be penny pinching while I'm there. I want to be very secure with $250,000 a year in expenses, which is a lot more than that I currently have, right? That would be a true upgrade. I really don't have a lot of expenses right now, which is probably what helped me a lot in day trading too, which was keeping my expense ratio low so that I didn't really think about the money as something that was too magnified, right? And if I moved to New York today, there would kind of be like this outside pressure to say, hey man, you're spending a lot of money. Like you need a push. You need to make more than, try to go for more than 4 or 5K a day. Because again, there's also the losses of that side. So that's one goal. Another goal is I want to buy like an $8 million multiplex with partners and start getting into real estate. I own property. This is what I actually wanted to say. I own a $1 million house. It's financed. I own a $1 million house in Scottsdale. I own a Porsche. I have a ton of liquidity, 700 to a million to my name right now after taxes and everything about that. So it's like, what do I want to do? What are my aspirations? Well, I want to get all my money invested. I want to get everything pushed into the markets, all my capital in different types of markets, private credit, private equity, private real estate, infrastructure, whatever. I want to hire people to do the job for me. And I want to focus on what makes me money and set aside money to allocate towards day trading. I don't need a big account for that because I know what my intentions are and what my goals are. And I want to see all of it grow over this 5 to 7 year period and then have enough capital to, again, level up in life, get to the next stage, do the next thing at 33, 34. And then that propels me to 38, 39. Have that 10-year plan, know exactly what I'm going after. And that is all in my head, a vision. Just like when I see a chart and I see where it's going, I also see where my life is going in the same exact way. But you have to plan for that stuff and you have to know what you want. And that is what I want. It's not to be a 10-figure trader. It's to have made enough money to now invest the capital I have and continue to create opportunity for myself and those around me.
Ladies and gentlemen, oh my goodness. That's it, bro. That right there is, I think that's what we all want, right? That's really what we all want. I think the benchmarks come from looking around, right? Oh, well, did you know that person is this type of trader or that person made this amount? But when you're and that's what I get from you. You're so determined and you're so aware of what Huddy wants. And you're so focused on what matters to Mike Huddy, right? That everything else, it does not matter because it's out of your field of vision. And I love that. I love it. So if there's anything that I didn't ask you that you would love to share, I want to give you the opportunity to do that now. And after you do that, I want you to let us know where we can follow you on social. I am going to pin your verified trading results. So anybody that wants to check your track record and verify that you are who you are, we're going to pin that in the comments so you guys can check his history. But definitely after you have the floor to share anything that I did not ask or anything that you do want to share, I definitely want you to drop your socials. Let us know where we can find you, where we can connect with you and all of that great stuff.
Yeah, look, I think you asked some really good questions. I think we touched on a lot of who I am, what I'm about, what I'm here to do, what's my purpose. I don't think I need to reiterate. Sometimes I can start to ramble. And it's a good thing. It's a bad thing. I have that gift of gab. So yeah, I think we covered most things. I think, trading is an industry where a lot of people have suspicion. And so I'm really happy that you are dropping our kinfo, you're dropping our verified trades because it is real what we've done. It's very surreal. It's very cool. I tell people at dinner last night what I did for what was my day right yesterday, which was buying some stock at 18, selling it at 32, shorting some stock at 250, covering at 120, making 5K that day, right? And they're like, it's not crazy money, but it's like, whoa.
Exactly.
And then having fun in the Discords, networking with my friends, networking with my buddies. What we do is super cool. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. And it's a dream worth working towards, but it's not easy. And in order to get there, there's a lot of cumulative roadblocks that any person has to overcome. And that mindset, I can't teach. I can tell you how I trade, what I trade. I'm not going to tell you to do the same things I do. You can learn from me, but you also have to cultivate mindset. And that is something that is on you. Self-help books, Tony Robbins, Think or Grow Rich, 10,000 hours. Go into the self-help section at your local bookstore and start to read books that strengthen your mind, because that is one of the more powerful assets in the market. I truly believe, more than anything I can teach you, right? That's number one. Number two, where can you find me? Like you said, my name is Mike Huddy. You can find me at Mike Huddy on Instagram, on Twitter, through Clover Trading. That's where we are. That's where we live. And that's where we like to talk to the people.
Come on, man. Ladies and gentlemen, we just got nothing but fire emojis and gems dropped here by my man Mike Huddy, checking in all the way from the West Coast. So we're going to let him get his day started. But ladies and gentlemen, listen, this has been another episode, another interview, bringing value to let you know that your dreams, your aspirations as a day trader is certainly possible. And Mike Huddy is a perfect example of that. So as I always say, we look forward to running into you at some bank one day, right? But you can't meet us there. You got to beat us at that bank. And when we pull up, you should already be walking out with a big smile on your face. And that's just our funny way of saying, I believe we all are going to be successful. So till next time, God bless you. Take care. And we'll holler at you later. Peace.